It's time! Yes, folks, we're celebrating Christmas early because I couldn't think of a definitive thing to cover this month. I do have something for December that fits in what we're looking at first, but otherwise, we're looking at the original Home Alone trilogy. Anyway, let's begin with Home Alone. Home Alone was a Christmas comedy movie from 1990 by director Chris Columbus, and written by John Hughes. The latter you know for writing legendary comedies like Ferris Bueller's Day Off and The Breakfast Club, and who also conceived this movie while on vacation, based on the notion of, what if I left my 10-year-old son at home? Warner Brothers initially financed the movie until they exceeded their budget and shut down production. Then 20th Century Fox came along and helped finance and produce it from there. This is also the movie that helped then child actor Macaulay Culkin rise in popularity. He had appeared in movies like Rocket Gibraltar and Uncle Buck, but after this, he would become the Page Master and Richie Rich. The significance of this movie can't be understated, as it was submitted to the Library of Congress into their National Film Registry. What makes this movie so special? Let me show you. First, the title sequence features music scored by John Williams, which Hughes joked about having after not getting Bruce Broughton, who was doing Rescuers Down Under at the time, but Steven Spielberg was able to get with Williams, so here we are. We truly opened at the McAllister House in Winnetka, Illinois. It's owned by a family of 7, comprised of parents Peter and Kate, played by John Hurd and Catherine O'Hara, and their children, Buzz, Linny, Jeff, Megan, and of course, Kevin. They're going on vacation with the rest of their family, who are staying the night so they can hop over to the airport for a trip to Paris. And we get to see firsthand how the family treats our main star. Basically, he's like the black sheep of the family. While you could say it's because he has a bit of immaturity to him.
I was in the garage again playing with the glue gun.
Didn't we talk about that?
Did I burn down the joint? I don't think so. I was making ornaments out of fish hooks.
I don't see how that's any more immature than 2 kids sword fighting on the stairs, or other kids saying childish insults. Hell, he seems younger than them, and no one wants to help him pack a suitcase?
This house is so full of people. It makes me sick. When I grow up and get married, I'm living alone.
Heh, but seriously, this is just a warm-up. What really makes you care for Kevin's situation is coming. And part of that comes from his older brother, Buzz, played by Kevin Rattray. He's an utter jerk.
I wouldn't let you sleep in my room if you were growing on my ass.
Not only is he inconsiderate, but he has odd things to say about his neighbor, Old Man Marley, played by Robert Blossom.
You ever heard of the South Bend Shovel Slayer?
No.
That's him. Back in '58, murdered his whole family.
Starting up rumors just to scare small children. That Buzz, I tell ya. Now, the cop we see here is played by Joe Pesci. Apparently, with so many people in the neighborhood going on vacation, he's saying they'll be patrolling the area to keep burglars from intruding. Though he does inquire about security. Seems reasonable enough.
Kids are still going to school here, and I guess he missed the whole...
Reasonable and nothing wrong here. Oh, and the pizza scene. People have done analysis on this scene because the family ordered 10 pizzas from the fictional Little Nero's. The cost was $122.50 plus tip. With inflation, the price would have gone up to $296.61 from August 2025. And don't get me started on the house, which was massive and from all the memes I've seen, must have had a huge mortgage cost. So this family better have the most awesome jobs ever if they could live on a family of 7. But now, the moment you all sympathize with Kevin. He comes in asking if they got him any cheese pizza, but...
Somebody's gonna have to barf it all up, because it's gone.
Pepsi!
Also, this kid totally knows what he's going to do with Kevin, since they're sleeping together. He's also played by Kieran Culkin, the younger brother of our star actor. But Buzz takes the crown for utter douchebag when he, either genuinely or not, barfs up on Kevin, causing this to happen.
Watch it!
What is the matter with you?
Well, let's see. Buzz was antagonizing him after seemingly eating the only pizza he could eat, then pretended to barf on him. So what did you think he should do? But
Look what you did, you little jerk.
Shut up, Uncle Frank. You're just as bad. And so Kevin is sent to go sleep in the attic. Not his room, the attic. And considering Kate doesn't take into consideration that Buzz attributes to Kevin acting out, it's like with a lot of bullying cases where only the victim is punished because they dared to defend themselves. The bully never gets comeuppance, and as a result, the rest of the family considers his victim as the real nuisance. Thus, it's only natural that we sympathize with Kevin as he ends up saying this.
I didn't want to see you again for the rest of my whole life, and I didn't want to see anybody else either.
Say it again. Maybe it'll happen.
I hope I never see any of you jerks again.
Many who grew up had similar issues of toxic family relationships. Some worse than others, but the bare basics are there and it gives them someone to latch onto. It's also more of a believable scenario than in North, since the infighting is closer to reality. Anyway, a windstorm occurs early that morning, which makes a tree branch fall and knock out the power. Good thing no one heard the explosion, because now there's no one awake to answer the door for their ride.
We slept in!
And somehow they blame it on Kevin. I kid, but the implication of them not thinking of Kevin will set in soon. Everyone scrambles to get ready as some neighbor kid shows up to see what's up. The only reason he's here is to screw up the head count that the family does for the kids. You'd think Kate would have gone to wake up her son, but nope. Neither parent have bothered to check on their problem child. Within 45 minutes, they get to the airport, run on through to Run Rudolph Run, and somehow make it to the terminal before it can leave. In today's society, they'd be stuck at the security checkpoint, and somehow they'll still blame it on Kevin.
Hope we didn't forget anything.
You sure did! Kevin wakes up, as if the loud noise downstairs hadn't, and finds himself in an empty house. Even now, no one on the plane has noticed Kevin is missing. Not even Buzz. We see Kevin look in the basement and get freaked out by the furnace, because even with what's to happen, he's still a kid with some childish fears. Hell, seeing the car still in the garage, he thinks he wished his folks away like magic. And remembering how awful they were, he takes it as a good thing and celebrates. You might see this as just what adults think a kid would do when left alone, but honestly, with how he's been treated, he deserves to act a little rebellious. He raids Buzz's private stash, reads a naughty magazine, steals firecrackers, and even shoots a BB gun. But what I love most is him watching the fake movie Angels with Filthy Souls. It features Ralph Foodie as a gangster named Johnny, who shoots this one guy because of mafia stuff, even though he gave him 10 seconds to leave and the guy was going to.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Mom!
Oh, now she has that sinking feeling. What was it you should have done this morning?
Kevin!
Oh, right. Check the attic for your other son. Oh, and because the phones are still out, they can't call him. So she's in shock because she left him behind. I could say there are other things you should have done, but we could chalk this up as the start of her changing her ways. Slowly. Anyway, Kevin's fine. He rides a sled down some stairs and outside, like a champ. But that night, we meet our main antagonists of the movie. Meet Harry and Marv. Harry was the cop we saw earlier, but now we know was getting intel for the houses they can rob from, while Marv is his partner in crime and is played by Daniel Stern. They are the Whip Bandits, and we'll see why later. But I do like how Harry is the brains who seems to have a handle for this.
Number 664 will be going on right about now.
They plan to rob the neighborhood, starting with Kevin's house. He wakes up in time after sleeping through How the Grinch Stole Christmas and turns on all the lights before hiding under the bed. But how long he can convince them the house is occupied is uncertain. Back with the family, they rush to a payphone, God, I remember seeing those everywhere, and start arranging plans to contact friends, family, get a flight home, the works. Kevin tries manning up and yells outside that, "I'm not afraid anymore," only for Marley to walk up. Yes, scream for the camera. It's all you know. Kate calls the police, and the first one she gets transfers her to...
Family Crisis Intervention, Sergeant Balzac.
It sounds like Ballsack. He's also useless, and everyone they know is away. The one police officer they do send over, Kevin is too scared to come down because he thinks it's the robbers again. They can't book any planes, and Kate refuses to leave except on a plane. They settle on having her be on standby while the rest of the family heads off to handle things their way. Otherwise, Kevin is prepping to do stuff today while putting on some kind of aftershave. That's the best scream he's done. He steals money from Buzz, after breaking his shelves from climbing them, and heads out, unaware that the bandits have raided one house and are currently stealing as we speak. They also hear on the answering machine that Peter and family are in France, meaning now they can attack the McAllister home again. Kevin, meanwhile, tries getting a toothbrush and other supplies, but before he can pay, Marley shows up with a bloody hand. This freaks him out.
Son? Hey!
Hey! Shoplifter!
He stole a toothbrush! That monster! Not as much as Marv, though. He steals snow globes and leaves the water on to flood the place.
Why do you do that? I told you not to do it.
Harry, it's our calling card.
And now you know why they're the wet bandits. Kevin has a little run-in with them, but the only thing to come of it is Kevin recognizing the gold tooth Harry has. They do wonder where he lives and follows him, leading to a small chase that ends with him running to a church where he hides in the nativity set piece.
Guys, come back. I'll be ready.
Ooh, we finally gonna get to the most famous part of the movie? We are over halfway through this. Nah, he sets up an elaborate trick using dummies and Brenda Lee music to fool them into thinking the family was still home. Amazing he could do this, and one of his family members said he was incompetent. They'll come back tomorrow though, so better be prepared. Over in Paris, Peter is trying to work with the police while the rest of the family parties. Megan, the oldest daughter, actually seems concerned about Kevin while Buzz continues to show how much of an asshole he is towards his younger brother.
We live in the most boring street in the United States of America, where nothing even remotely dangerous will ever happen. Period.
Oh yeah, the running gag of this movie is the lawn statue keeps getting run over. Anyway, pizza time! He's able to pay for it, but he has to disguise his voice with Johnny from the movie because... I don't know.
A lovely cheese pizza just for me.
Back at the airport, Kate is trying to bribe her way onto a plane and is able to convince one couple about her situation and gets aboard. Kevin is starting to feel very lonely and wishes his family could come back. Otherwise, he takes time to try that aftershave again. He seems to know how to shop this time, as he even buys laundry detergent, but that means dealing with the evil furnace again.
Shut up.
Yeah, he sure showed that furnace. The bandits are slowly starting to realize the family ain't home and try investigating, but like before, Marv is scared away by Johnny shooting a gun, backed up by firecrackers being used. This doesn't convince Harry, since if there are people in there, he'd have to know what they look like, so they'll wait. Well, Kate made it back to America, but she still needs a ride to Chicago. That's where she meets Gus Polinski. He's played by the late John Candy, who was the title character in Uncle Buck. And just to go on a little tangent, he and Culkin had a really good relationship, as the latter saw John as a father figure, since his real one was a monster. Of course, Gus is willing to drive her to Chicago, since they're going to Milwaukee anyway. Candy was only there for one day of shooting, and he did it as a favor to Hughes, hence everything he did was improvised. Anyhow, Harry's waiting pays off, so now they know that it's just a single child fooling them. They set up their plan, out loud, so Kevin can hear them. Although to be fair, he's kinda screwed since they know he's alone and he can't do much else otherwise. And Mom's still with the polka group. So he decides to try asking this mall Santa if he could tell the real Santa to bring his family back. He is a bit taken aback, but otherwise he gives Kevin some Tic Tacs for the road. Kevin walks home and sees all the other families together for Christmas, and that makes him more sad. He enters the church and sees Marley again. This time, though, he actually listens to him. He has a granddaughter on the choir, and he's actually really nice. Kevin admits that he said things he regrets, and despite how things are, he does like his family.
How you feel about your family is a complicated thing. Deep down, you always love them. But you can forget that you love them. And you can hurt them, and they can hurt you. And that's not just because you're young.
And this is a good takeaway. Families are complicated, sometimes a bit messy, and it might look bad at times. Sometimes it can help to come together and address things. It might not always work, as it can be in real life, but the movie tries being optimistic about things working out this way. Hell, the fact that Kate is going through all this trouble for her son is proof enough that things can be remedied between them. And that's all we gotta hope for, that things turn out alright. Marley admits that he had an argument with his son and how they wished they didn't want to see each other. It's meant to reflect Kevin's situation, while showing that you're never too old to be afraid, especially if people don't speak to you again. Kevin suggests trying calling him again, even if he doesn't want to talk to him, he'll at least know and won't have to be afraid of that at least. With that, Kevin returns home with a renewed sense of needing to save his home. Now we're at the part this movie is famous for. The traps. Kids are crafty, and they can come up with ways to screw an adult over with childish gambits. Mind you, Kevin is a bit smarter than we gave him credit for, and is able to do some really elaborate stuff. How he has all this time is a mystery I'm willing to leave unanswered. Otherwise, the bandits start arriving right as Kevin is about to eat his mac and cheese. Crap, the bandits are coming, but first, better put on that aftershave. Okay, no. He gets the gun out. Harry makes his declaration that they're going to invade.
Fella now and open the door.
Marv gets shot in the head, so now it's time to split up. Of course, no matter which side they go, they have frozen stairs to deal with. Of course, I can't show everything with these traps unaltered. Let's just say they're a stroke of comedy gold. It's incredible slapstick with how they try to get around these traps, only to fail. So here's a quick montage of this sequence, set to an old track I like to use. We spent over an hour developing Kevin as someone that felt mistreated but deep down does love his family, probably for things we haven't seen, and his mother wanting to help him after saying something bad herself. So now it's fair to spend a good portion just having some comedic action. And man, does this look painful! Naturally, this is all done with a mix of props, stunt doubles, and creative cinematography. This bit, with Marv stepping on ornaments, was him wearing rubber feet that he wore over his actual feet. The nails on the stairs were made of rubber, the doorknob that burnt Harry's hand was actually a non-heated neon tube glowing with a lighter, and so on. Kevin calls the cops before making his way upstairs, but is caught by Marv. However, earlier in the movie, Buzz's tarantula was let loose accidentally, and since it appears before Kevin, we get the funniest Marv moment ever. God, I love Daniel Stern in this. Kevin ziplines to this treehouse, which was real by the way, while Marv tries killing the actually real tarantula that climbs on Harry. Kevin taunts them from the treehouse, and because that means going back through the hell house, they try crossing the zip line. But of course... By the way, it's worth noting that someone did a Home Alone with Blood series to show what would happen if they were hurt for real, and it's worth seeing yourself since realistically, these two should be dead or maimed beyond recognition. Kevin lures the two toward the Murphy house, which Kevin called the cops to earlier. But they actually plan ahead since while Kevin goes through the flooded basement, which they used a high school pool decorated to look like a house basement, they catch him coming up. They now plan to get back with him for all the shit they went through. But little do they know, Marley is coming up with the shovel.
Come on. Let's get you home.
And so the cops arrive and arrest the two. Kevin prepares for Christmas and leaves out presents for his family, hoping his Christmas wish comes true. Kate and Gus bond over family stuff and how kids can be resilient even in tough times. Kevin wakes up to find no one home until his mom finally shows up. Oh, and just to tease us, the rest of the family was able to come back the same day. They seem to have come around. Even Buzz has a little more respect for Kevin living alone by himself.
What else did you do while we were away?
Just hung around.
Heh. That's how it would have ended, but there's more they added. Kevin looks outside and sees Marley making up with his son, meaning he can see his granddaughter whenever they want. And the movie ends with one final line.
Kevin! What did you do to my room?
And that was Home Alone, which in my opinion is the near perfect Christmas movie. Kevin is very relatable given his family history, so you easily side with him as he gets his break from family. We do see the remorseful side of his family and wanting to get back to him, even if only Kate did the most effort in trying to get back to him. The Wet Bandits were highly enjoyable, and their suffering of Kevin's traps was very amusing. What makes this movie work is Kevin himself. Rather than being overly obnoxious, he's sympathetic and can make mistakes. He can also learn and improve from them and come to an understanding with other people. And considering Culkin came off of Uncle Buck, where his character was closer to being overly obnoxious, seeing him play someone who matures over time shows some good promise. While initially receiving mixed reception at release, it did gradually become more beloved as a Christmas movie over the years. Hell, it grossed over $476 million at the box office and was even nominated for many awards from various outlets. It did get accusations of plagiarism by Rene Manzoor, saying it was a remake of a film he made in 1989 called 3615 Cold Pierre Noel, which had a similar plot involving a boy defending his home. Not sure how accurate that all is, considering that was a horror film, and this is a family comedy. Either way, the fact that Home Alone did so well meant we were going to be seeing a sequel. And well, it's something worth talking about. So stay tuned for when we see Kevin lost in New York.